research set Amplify research session webinar on copyright and downloading and permissions. So yeah, for anyone just joining, yeah, that's what today's webinar will be about. It's all about copyright, permissions, and downloading things. So yeah, we'll get right into it. So one of the most common questions that I receive either through email or phone calls is someone found the site, they found something that they want to use from the Arizona Memory Project, but they're not sure how to use it, what the permissions are, is it copyrighted, can they download it, how can they use it, things like that. So the very short answer is it depends, and that's because we have over 280,000 items, and they're all from different sources, they're from different time periods, and all of those factors contributes to its copyright status and any permissions that we may have. And it's not just all those items aren't just coming from the State of Arizona Research Library, which Arizona Memory Project is a resource of, but AMP also has 106 different institutions that are contributing content to the Memory Project. And we decided that when AMP does not have a single blanket statement for use that covers everything you find on this site. Every institution that contributes content to AMP gets to keep their own copyright and permissions and reuse policies. So we respect those, and we'll go through what those look like and how you can sort of tell. So we don't expect anybody to just know off the top of their head or without having to do their own research of what a copyright status is, how do we use something. So this webinar is for going through how you can find out based off of the item that you're looking for. I have a few queued up here, but first I want to mention a couple things that might help you while you're doing any kind of research on the Memory Project. And this will also help for contacting us if you do have questions about permissions or reuse or copyright. So you can see here that I'm logged in. If you were not logged in, it would say welcome guest, and then this would say log in. It's not required, but you can create a member account. And what that looks like is just signing up for an account. This is my login that I'm using for this presentation. If you were going to log in and create an account for the first time, this would look like register for an account. So you just put in an email address and a name, and that gets sent to me, and then I approve that registration request, and then you'll have an account. And then when you come in, you'll be able to go into my profile over here. You can change your password, change your name, email address, anything like that. But once you're logged in, then you'll have your login credentials here, and then that's how you know that you're logged in. And what it basically does is it allows you to bookmark content. That's a different upcoming webinar that we'll go through. And it also it's a little easier to contact us if you have a question about a specific item. So we'll go through that once we get to any copyright related things. So first, we'll just start with a general search. We'll just call it Grand Canyon. We have previous webinars where you can find information about what all of these buttons do. But just for now, we're going to do a very basic search. So go to Grand Canyon. Okay. So these are all the results. Let's say that you wanted to pick any random one. You'd click on the item. And copyright and rights show up in two different places. The first is over here on the left under this left-hand panel over here. Come down here, you'll see a whole section that says copyright. This will tell you what the copyright status is. So this particular item is from the state archives, and it tells you that the copyright and publication rights for all photographs in this collection are retained by this institution. For assistance with permission to reuse or other reference question, please contact the archives, and there's a link. So you can copy that. And then that goes through there. And then you can fill out your information, ask a question. The other place that you'll find it is over here in the right statement. Sometimes these will be the same, the copyright statement over here and the rights statement. Those will sometimes be the same, but sometimes they're different. Sometimes the copyright might tell you what the copyright status is, and then the right statement gives you instructions on what to do. So we have them in both places. It makes it a little bit easier to see what the status are, but it also kind of covers both elements, both what the copyright status is and how do you use it once you find it. And you also find, while I'm here, downloading. Sometimes you can download items, sometimes you can't. And again, that depends on what the contributing institution has requested of us when they contribute their content to the site. So in this case, the State Archives has asked that we do not allow downloading. So again, that's where this comes in. It gives you instructions. If you want assistance with permission to reuse an item, which would include downloading it and having a copy, then yeah, just follow the instructions here. These downloadables here, this is just the metadata. So all these items, information on the side, you get a PDF or an XML file that includes this information, but you can see that you're not able to download the item yourself. I'll show you an example of where you could do that. It would show up over here if you can. So that's one example. I've got other examples here. This is a map from the Arizona State Land Department. Here you can see a different copyright statement. It's in copyright as an Arizona government document. That's what AZ-GovDoc stands for. So this one says that copyright is held by the creating agency, is provided here for educational purposes only. It may not be reproduced or distributed in any format without written permission of the creating agency. So we have the ability to upload and have these items, these Arizona government document items, on the memory project for the purpose of providing access to these items. But over here, you can see, same idea over here. That matches the copyright label. But while we're allowed to put these up, it doesn't necessarily mean that any user can use the item without permission from the agency. So that's why that statement's there. And again, this is a blanket statement that does cover Arizona government documents. What we try to do in these cases is, since we tell users that, hey, you need to go to the creating agency to ask for permission, then we have the agency here. So in this case, it's the Arizona State Land Department. And what we have here on, this is a landing page for everything we have in the site that was created by the Arizona State Land Department. So if you click on website here, that should go to their website. And from there, again, all of these websites are going to be a little bit different, but from there, you can use their contact page and get in touch with them. And usually the way that would go is you would use the specific link that you'd have up here. If you did a search, you don't need to include all these extra pieces, just up to the number before the question mark. And when you contact an agency, you can let them know, hey, I found this digital copy of an item on the Arizona Memory Project. Here's the link. And then they can help you work out what permissions that you may need to use it for whatever project that you're working on. All right, here's another example. In this case, it is a map of the Grand Canyon from 1925. So this one indicates that there's no copyright. And this is mostly by virtue of the year that it was created. So this is indicating that the organization has made it available, that we believe it's in public domain. And this is specifically for the United States. There's a whole other world of international copyright law that we really haven't dealt with here in the context of the Arizona Memory Project. But at least as far as the United States is concerned, this has been determined to be in public domain. And you can see here, this is a little bit different. So this is telling you that works by the U.S. government are not eligible for U.S. copyright protection, except for some special cases. We haven't really encountered those special cases for much of what's going on in the Arizona Memory Project. So this is where you can use these two together, and you can be reasonably certain that these are just free to use. And in this case, you are able to download it. You don't need to go through any special permissions or requests to download something like this. So again, if you're ever unsure of whether you can get a copy of something, download it, and it'll pop up here. with the caveat that just because downloading has been enabled, which means you can download it without making a request, it doesn't necessarily mean that you are automatically free to use that item in any case without permissions. In this case, you would. It's public domain. That's why downloading is enabled. But there are items that you can download it, but they're still copyright protected, or at least you still need to go through the contributing institution that made this item available to us for us to put on the Arizona Memory Project. And again, that's where these come in handy. So this might tell you, what the copyright status is, and over here, instructions for reaching out to the institution that it came from. Sometimes there are no known copyright. So for this map in particular, after looking it over, we couldn't find when it was created, when exactly it was, or who created it, when it was created. So there's nothing obvious here on this map that's telling us what its exact copyright status is. We don't have enough information. So there's no known copyright. We felt comfortable putting this up here because we couldn't find any copyright statement or anything indicating that this particular map had been registered under copyright, or if it had been registered, if that registration had lapsed. So there's a lot of details that go into trying to figure out what copyright status of something may be. We weren't able to make any conclusive determination, but we felt reasonably confident that there's no known copyright. So we reasonably believe the item is not restricted by copyright or related rights, but a conclusive determination cannot be made. And over here in right statement, similar idea. And this would be something, in this case, please refer to the organization that made the item available. That's us. So if you have a question, this is something where you can contact us. All right, here's another example. And I'm going through these just so you see the different combinations of things you might find. It's very much not a one size fits all. So here we've got an image from the Mojave Museum. They have an item that isn't copyright. And here they tell you permission to publish material should be addressed to the Mojave Museum of History and Arts, and there's their email. So sometimes the contributing institution will give us a direct email that we can put in the rights statement. And that way, if you notice that, you can bypass having to contact us. You don't, because that's where we're going to direct you anyway. So if you notice that there's another email address that's telling you, oh, it came from this institution, email them at this address, go ahead and do that. You don't need us to sort of be in the middle. If the whole thing is confusing to you and you're like, well, I tried emailing them and they get a response, would you mind? We're always happy to help. But we just try to make the communication as direct as possible. So when we know that there's a known email address or other way to contact the contributing institution, we'll put that in the rights statement. And sometimes we'll have items that the copyright just wasn't evaluated. This particular one was donated to us by a patron. It was just a photo that they found, kind of in a in a box, somewhere at the house. So, they don't know anything about, who took it. Was it a studio? Was it a single person? They just don't have that information. They have kind of, a general idea of, when it was taken, but nothing conclusive, and the best we could come up with was, well, here's, it's a black and white photograph. Here's a description of what we're looking at. But there's no real way to sort of, evaluate it. So in this case, we have a copyright statement for copyright not evaluated. We just don't have enough information. So in that case, that would be something where you'd reach out to us. In that case, I would reach out to the patron on your behalf, and just kind of, in that case, that is something where we would kind of go in between. Most patrons who want to donate things don't kind of want to be on the hook for getting emails from people who use the site saying, hey, can I use this photo? So in the example where if you wanted to use this photo for something and you wanted to check how you'd be able to use it, then we'd go back and check with the patron and just try and get in touch with them and ask them. So it doesn't come up too often, but we just try not to, if somebody wants to donate something as anonymously as possible, we let them do that. Okay, so I did want to point out too that we do have a written permissions policy. It's fairly broad, but it's just kind of letting users know that not everything on the site is just kind of up for grabs. Even though it's accessible by virtue of being on a public platform, that it doesn't automatically mean that they're just you can um, use it for any purpose for any reason without asking. So that's mostly what this is about. Uh, yeah, so there's not too much going on there. One thing I do want to also point out, this link will be dropped in the chat. Um, 1 second, let me get there. Okay, so we do have a research guide that goes over copyright and permissions. So if you this is a direct link to it, you can also get to the home page. But here, when someone emails me asking if they can use a photo or any item that they find, um, this is usually the standard response that I'll send just to let them know that you know every institution retains their existing copyright permissions policies. We don't own anything that's contributed by a partner institution unless they explicitly donate it to us. But in most cases, they're just letting us have it for AMP. They still have ownership of that item. So if you contact me and ask about any kind of permissions, I'll send something like this back, and then I'll elaborate. Hey, uh, this is the institution that sends it along, and so let me get in touch with them, and I can kind of be in the middle there if you need me to reach out to the partner and find it out for you. All right. So one thing you can do if the copyright indicates that you need to contact us, or if the right statement does, one thing you can always do for every item is you can contact us about this. So for every item that you're looking at, there's always going to be this toolbar, and every item toolbar contains a contact us about this. So if you click on that, if you're logged in, this is going to autofill with whatever you need it to, for whatever your account is, when you can change those credentials again if you need to. So that's going to autofill. You can also email directly, but if you do this and type a message out, then when you send it, the system knows that this is the item that you're looking at. But if you want to email us directly, you can always do azmemory@azlibrary.gov. You can give us a call. And if you have any other issues, you can also do request an appointment, and that'll take you to the same page where we have in some of the right statements, hey, if you have a question about using this, then you can get in contact with us this way. So yeah, all in all, there's about 21 different copyright statements that we have, because that's how complicated it can get. So we have all of those just to sort of cover all the bases, and then the right statements are usually provided by the partner, indicating how they want users to get in touch with them if they have a question about it. One thing I probably should have mentioned at the beginning is our role here is we're not intellectual property lawyers or copyright lawyers. So, nothing that we're saying about how to use something should be interpreted as kind of legal advice or anything like that. We're just trying to direct patrons to the contributing institutions that made the items available, and letting those institutions set their own policies for permission and reuse. We do some copyright research at times when needed, to sort of figure out what's permissible to even be on the memory project in the first place. So we do a little bit of that. And there might be some cases where you find an item and the copyright statement and the right statements just aren't clear, and we can usually help kind of dig into those a little bit. We have some resources that can help us kind of do our best due diligence in terms of determining copyright if it's ambiguous, and it may involve getting in touch with the partners, things like that. But yeah, any questions that you have, you can always just email us directly, or you can use, one of these forms. So yeah, that's kind of all I have for the formal presentation part of this. Happy to address any questions that people may have, just about, even if it's just something specific about, oh, hey, like I did find a specific item, it's not clear what I should do, any kind of help you may need. I'm here to help. I haven't not seeing any questions in the chat. Haven't heard anything. So yeah, I'll just give it another minute or so if you think of anything. But that should. One thing in the chat. If you go to the libcal.com link, that should be at the bottom of the chat. That'll be for upcoming sessions. We've got, I believe, 3 more of these Amplify sessions. The next one, I believe, is about creating a member account and what you can do, how to bookmark content, how to create your own custom collections so you can organize all the items that are of interest to you on the memory project. And we also have Arizona Member Project information sessions, which are broader. They kind of just explain what AMP is, how to contribute content, things like that. So those you are also welcome to sign up for using the same link, that same general link to get to the list of events that you used to sign up for this webinar. You can use the same one and then just, pick the same as last time, pick the event that interests you, and you can sign up for those as well if you haven't already. But yeah, I'll give it another minute or so. But yeah, otherwise, thanks everybody for attending, and I hope to see you at a future webinar. Thanks so much.